This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome everybody to another rousing round of Roseburg speakers and storytellers. Welcome from around the world. We have several guests here today. Guests, we're assuming that you want to participate in table topics. If you don't, then please get a hold of our table topics master, which is also our immediate past president, IU. However, I think that we're going to have full participation in table topics today. You guys know the drill. If you're not talking, please mute yourself. Please stay on camera as much as possible because it is much more engaging if we can all see each other. And with all that, let's turn this meeting over to our president, Miss Yasmin Tawala.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sergeant of Tiger. And wow, I'm just learning for something which I have to get accommodated with, trying to welcome you all and trying to welcome you all more warmly. So I cannot express my gratitude to say how much I value your presence here and how much I wish to welcome you all. Thank you very much for showing and coming up to RSS. This is not a regular meeting time. It's quite early for many of us. So those joining from Oregon, it's 7 a.m. We have people from different parts of the world. Today, I'm very glad to say we are well covered because we have people coming from India, we have people coming from China, we have people from Europe with us and US as well as Australia. So this is the beauty of RSS, diversity and smile, the common connecting theme, smile. So welcoming you all yet again to this wonderful meeting. I see we have guests here, and I'm very hesitant to call them guests because I see them as a part of RSS family, but still I would like to invite them so that they can come and introduce themselves. To begin with, I would like to invite Steven. Steven, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everybody. I'm Steven. I'm from Dongguan, China. And I'm the member of, actually, I'm the VPM of Dongguan English Toastmaster Club. So we are a club of 6 years old. Yeah. So I was introduced to this meeting by Linda, our founding mother for our club. So yeah, nice to meet you guys here today.
Thank you so much, Steven. We love your presence here, and we will really be very happy if you can come and join in as much as you can. And ladies and gentlemen, who doesn't love to have Linda here with us? Isn't her smile and her presence making it all so different for us? Linda, I am really hesitant to call you as a guest, but please, if you could introduce yourself.
So glad to be here again. This is the third time I'm joining the meeting in Roseburg. I really love this family, and I would like to join you as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you for coming here and bringing those tropical vibes in your screen always. I have to learn how to do that. I love it. Okay, we have here Suvendu, who has been so kind to have come in half an hour before our official meeting time. Suvendu, we know you love us. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Suvendu. Originally, I'm from one of the financial institutions for a private equity bank, wherein my job is a project manager. So yeah, I enjoy coming back here. So I'm not very regular here, but I would like to be regular in future.
Yeah, we're sure, Surendra, you're going to be more regular because it's just that you cannot miss Monday without us. You will miss Monday without us. So I'm very certain that gradually you are going to miss us and be here more regular. I see we have Seni joining in. I'm not sure if she's already here. Seni, are you here with us? Are you still connecting? Hey, nice to see you, Seni. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been a while that I haven't been in RSS. It's nice to see you,
Yeah.
most
It's
all of you again. Yasmin, Tiger. I think Ayu will be here too. Oh yeah, I saw. I see Ayu.
Yeah, Ayu is very much here. And Seni, and all the member RSS family, I have to share this exciting and very good news with you that Seni is the newest RSS member. So it gives me immense pleasure to say and introduce Seni as RSS member rather than RSS family. Thank you so much, Seni. We love to have you here. I see Alicia is also with us. Alicia is so much part of RSS family, and as always, I'm very hesitant to invite her, to call her as a guest. I don't see her as a guest, but yes, it would be so lovely, Alicia, if you could introduce yourself to our members.
All right, thank you very much. I haven't been here for almost 2 years. I think it's been 2020, August of 2020 since I last came to RSS, just because of life has happened and it's been busy. I'm Alicia Kurz, the current District 100 Program Quality Director and the first person in the world to be a remote district trio leader from a different continent. So it has been a huge learning curve over the last 12 months when I was a public relations manager calling in from Australia to the USA, 2 times distinguished Toastmaster, and I'm not working full time anymore. So here I am doing Toastmasters 24/7 yet again, whilst I'm trying to work out what my mystery illness is. Thanks, Yasmin. It's always a pleasure to see you too.
It's always so nice to see you, Alicia, and thank you for raising the bar always. You set us this milestone we should be looking at. So thank you for bringing that level to our to Toastmasters in totality. And I'm very sure that you are going to deliver your best to this new role, new challenging role that you have had taken. As always, we have an alien amongst us who is no more an alien. And I would like to invite Akib to please come and introduce who is very much the part of RSS family again. Akib?
Hello everyone, my name is Akib Javed and I'm from Coastline Toastmasters Club, Vizag, Andhra Pradesh. I've been coming to RSS the past 1 year. I mean, I started my Toastmaster journey 1 year back and since then I've been coming. So it is as good as my home club and I keep coming. That is what has brought me today as well. Over to you, Yasmin.
Thank you so much, Akib. It's always such a pleasure as a president to start the meeting, inviting many guests. What a president could feel good about than to have so many guests coming to the club. And without any ado, I have to invite the Toastmaster of the day today. If you all have seen the agenda or if you have seen the person in the room, you would know who I am referring to. He has been the backbone of RSS. He has given RSS its vision and it's all his time and support. So I think RSS is synonym to his presence, which is none other than our dear Tiger. So Tiger, he's the Toastmaster of the day. Let's welcome Tiger to take over the meeting.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, President Yasmin. Welcome, everybody. Our theme for the day is numbers. A very simple concept, really. However, of course, as human beings, we've made it very complicated because, well, we're human. Very simple definition. An arithmetic value expressed by a word, symbol, or figure representing a particular quantity used in counting, making calculations, and for showing order in a series for identification. Today is, I believe everywhere in the world, still 7-Eleven. Is it still 7-Eleven, everybody? I think so. No. Our Australian saying no, it's 7/12 already. So there you go. So be assured, everybody, the world's not ending today because it's already tomorrow in Australia. Today in Oregon, it is 7-Eleven. And it is 10 after 7. We use numbers all the time. We can't get away from it. Our time, our calendar. How often do you say, oh, I'm 5 minutes late? You don't say, you could say I'm a little late, but what do we say? Oh, I'm 5 minutes late. So numbers are extremely important in our life. Today, as we go through, when you are introduced for your role or as table topics, if you could just give us a brief explanation of what your favorite number is and why. And with that in mind, my favorite number is 7. Why? I grew up an athlete. My favorite athlete was Tim McCarver. Tim McCarver was, yes, you guessed it, number 7. Little did I know that number 7 means perfection. So of course, 7 is a wonderful number. There are 7 days in a week, which works out perfectly to 52 weeks in a year. There you go. Let's move on. There are 3 phases of our meeting. First of all, we have a speech. We have one speech today. Then we'll have table topics, which will be led by our previous president. That will be fun, especially with all the guests that we have here today. And our third phase will be the evaluation phase, which will be led by our general evaluator. So first, let me introduce the people that will be helping facilitate this meeting. Our timer today is Michelle. Could you please give us a brief explanation of what you'll be doing to, oh, there she is. I'm looking around in my Brady Bunch and I couldn't find you. There she is down in the corner. Hi, Michelle. Could you give us a brief explanation and show us your prompts for today?
Yes, hello. Thank you, Tiger. Good day, good morning, good evening for all here. As a timer, I will time the time. I will take the time. We have 3 parts in this meeting. One is for the prepared speech, that the time is for 5 to 7 minutes. When you get the 5, at 5, I will show this green screen. When at the 6 minutes, it will be yellow, and 7 minutes green. For the part of table topic, we have 1 minute. So in 1 minute, it will be, yes, it is 1 minute. So for 1 minute, it's yellow, is green, 1:30 yellow, and 2 minutes, it is red. And in our 3 parts, that is the evaluation. In the evaluation, we have 2 minutes. So we have 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. So when it's 2 minutes, it's yellow, 2:30, 2 minutes green, sorry, 2:30, 30 minutes yellow, and 3 minutes it's red. And in the end of when I come back for make my report, I will show the all time that I got. Thank you, Tiger. Go back with you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Michelle. Perfect example, ladies and gentlemen. Numbers, numbers, and numbers. Our counter today is Fundu. Can you please give us a brief explanation of what you will be doing for us today?
Sure. So my understanding is I would be observing of the filler words of the speakers during the speech. Filler words like so, then, but. The unnecessary use of those words would be counted, and I would be letting you know when or so I would be informing you once your speech is over.
Thank you so much. And just for fun, like that was a wonderful introduction. Thank you. Our grammarian for today is Alicia. Alicia, could you please give us an explanation and share with us the word of the day?
Thank you very much for that, Tiger. So the role of the grammarian or the language evaluator is an important feature of any Toastmasters meeting, and the purpose is to assist all members with improving their grammar and vocab. So tonight or this morning, wherever you may be, I'll be looking at many techniques. These may be alliteration, anaphora, characterization, emotive language, juxtaposition, imagery, metaphor, personification, satire, simile, symbolism, and the triads. The word of the day is gratitude. It's a noun, gratitude. That's how you would say it phonetically. The definition, the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for and return to kindness. And sentence structure, Alicia shared her gratitude to Ukrainian Toastmasters clubs for allowing her to attend the meeting and to be the grammarian. If you use this in the synonym form, so variations, thanks, appreciation, recognition, acknowledgement, respect, regard, credit, indebtedness. So please use the word of the day, gratitude, and I'll report back at the end of the meeting the use of the English language. Back to you, Tiger.
Thanks, Alicia. And I'd like to express my gratitude for being here. This will be a wonderful Grammarian's Report. At this time, it is time for our speaker, who is none other than our president. So, of course, we all look forward to her speech today. This is from the Pathways Developing Leadership, Writing a Speech with Purpose, and the title, I love this, Forest and Women. Forest and Women, Yasmin.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. I would like to share my screen, and if you can please let me know if you can see my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen.
You can see it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And timer, I cannot see you, so I will be grateful if you can alert me towards the end of the time. I picked up a subject today which is very close to my heart, which is forest and women. But before I get into the details of what women can contribute to, I want to raise your attention of how forest and local communities go hand in hand. I speak more from my experience in India, and this is a perspective I would like to bring in here, that for Indians, and when I say India, I mean Indian subcontinent, and I think many of us would relate with this case in India, is that we have not seen forests in isolation with the communities or with the human survival. To say the least, these things are well depicted in the pictures that we have, the folk pictures. These are just 3 symbolic pictures, and these are very common pictures which you might see in front of the houses in India. And if you observe these closely, you would see that how integrated is our festivity. For example, just look at the picture at the center, the bigger one. You will see people in the festive mood, how the festivities and celebration are related to the presence of tree, or thought of incomplete without the presence of tree and the birds on it. So we have always seen everything in an integrated form rather than in isolation. It doesn't mean that we do not depend on forests. Just look at the picture on the upper left, where you would see the hunters taking the forest produce. So it is very much understandable that forests have resources, and those resources are meant for human use. But then we understand that those resources have to be maintained sustainably, and there has to be a continuation. The idea is never of exploiting the resources. So the concept of replenishing the resource that you use is very much integral into the forest communities or the local communities who dwell in the forests. Another picture is very interesting because you would see that we do not make any distinction in the animals or in the chain. Even the higher animals, higher carnivore, are placed at the same level as our birds. So for us, it's really the concept of a cyclic integrated system rather than a pyramidical system where some of the animals or organisms exist at a higher level. For us, we have placed human at the highest level of the pyramid, which is against the Indian concept, because Indian concept does not believe in, it sees everything in integrity. Going next, I would like to just move next to the slide. Okay, is the bar disturbing? Do you all see the bar, the black bar? Okay, just to reiterate what I said, that here, the forest, the way forests are managed is that you have a collaborative governance. You have government who takes care of it. You have communities who abstract and make use of the resources that are available from the forest, at the same time takes care of it. So the ownership of the forest stays with the government, but communities have usufruct rights over those forests. And this is done through the forest management units. So this is how the forests are governed in India. Okay, yeah. So India has a really long history of local community involvement in managing forests. And we do it through joint forest management scheme. Basically, joint forest management is a sort of partnership arrangement between forest departments and local communities. As I mentioned, forests are subject to state ownership. So government has control over forests, but local communities can live in the forest and can use the resources. So this is the concept of joint forest management. Now, over the years, there is a new transition existing in the concept of forests. We have moved from the joint forest management concept to adding another element into the forest, which we had not put up as a priority earlier, which is the carbon services that forests offer. This has led to the development of an idea called RED+, or to say payment of ecosystem services. So now forests are seen also as the carbon repository, the amount of carbon that they sequester. And like many other governments of the world, Indian government is also, or Indian institutions are also working on assessing the amount of carbon that is being stored in the forests. And the idea is that the forest communities who preserve these forests and have been preserving so sustainably for over years should also be paid for the services they protect, the ecosystem services they protect in the forest. So there is this concept of payment of ecosystem services. And this is just to give you an idea that this is a concept which was globally growing as the discourse for climate change grew and as the concept of carbon into the forests grew. So there is another full terminology on RED+. I'm not going to get into the detail of it, but the idea is to present to you the context. Now, I would specifically like to focus on the role of women in forest conservation. And I would not like to bring it as something which is very technical or rocket science, but very small solutions which highlight that how women are an important part of transformation and conservation of forest. I will share with you some examples of the projects where I have had personally worked with. This is one where we are working, there is an organization called A3, and we worked with the communities in developing bricks, sort of bio-briquetting. So still in the villages where which dwell in the forest, there is high usage of fuel wood for cooking. For fodder, and fuel wood is being used for cooking. And changing the patterns of cooking, and cooking is heavily a women-oriented activity in villages in India, and the contribution of women as to how they can change it is very critical. It might look simple to give them just an improved cooking stove, but in practice, it is not that simple because there are strong cultural ties as to how you cook and prepare your food, how and where your kitchen is, how your stove looks like. You might think why they cannot have just LPG cylinders, etc. It might look an easy solution, but it is not that, because even if you provide them liquid-based LPG gas or cylinders, it's so culturally intrinsic because of the abundance of resources around them that they will rely on having fuel wood for their cooking. But through this, we developed female entrepreneurship. And as you can see in the above picture, all the young women were engaged into how they can produce this briquettes in their own locality and use it. Another very recent example where I visited the villages in India is coming from southern part of India. You would see the picture A, which is basically a desert land. It's a saline land which is of no use. It comes from a desertic area where people do not have regularly face drought conditions. And you would see the picture C, where you see the transformation of the land as to how a barren land has been converted into forest through mango trees. These are mango trees. Now, it might again look very simple to you. You might wonder why. Oh, it's just simple. You just have land available, which is of no use, which is rocky, and you just plant mango trees, and this will survive. But it is not the case. You have to understand it that we are talking about an area where people do not have water to drink. So if you do not have water to drink or to feed your cattle, it is very important for you to understand that in those circumstances, these people could maintain the trees. And these trees, they did it not at the level of 1 or 2 households, at the community level. And this is the beauty of any project that you take up in terms of forest conservation, that it has to achieve scale. It cannot be 1 or 2 households. It has to be whole village coming together and understanding the concept. So this is the effort, very simple effort of this lady. Basically, what has happened in this area is that because of its proximity to cities, bigger cities, the men folk have migrated because there is no work here. They cannot depend on agriculture. So they have migrated as laborers to the nearby cities. And what the people who were left were these women who have to take care of the families. So all these women were brought together. It was definitely facilitated through an NGO and other organizations who have been working in these areas. And they provided them with a basic infrastructure as to the sapling, as to pipes which they could use to irrigate their trees. And they have taken up large-scale transformation. This is just one very simple example. I interviewed this lady and I asked her if she would not have had planted these trees, what would she be doing? And she said maybe she would have migrated somewhere else to be a laborer, just because she would not see any reason of being here. So these trees could actually mean people to stay. We talk about sustainable development goals. We talk about reducing poverty, bringing livelihood, but you have to also think of how you bring it at the place, at the location where people stay. And this was a very, very good example. And I mentioned about the payment of ecosystem services. And this is one example where these people, these farmers, get paid for the trees that they maintained over years through private companies as indigo. This is another example from another mountainous village in India. Here, these people have realized that the springs for which is their 100% dependence on drinking water have dried up. There are several reasons for this, for the drying of the springs. We can have another separate speech on that. But the concept here was that they felt, and drinking water is a family concern. And it again, whenever it is about family responsibility, it's the females who take it up as their own. So they felt that no, something have to be done in order to restore the drinking water. And what they did is that there was a rural employment guarantee scheme in India, and all these villages again came together. The females, they paid their labor and this dug these pits into their own farms, and they dig it at various scales so that water could be retained. And they made contribution in terms of they sacrificed their own land, the piece where they could have otherwise had done agriculture. So These are all small landholding farmers. So even this much chunk of their land makes a difference, but they understood that no, their survival is integral to the survival of ecosystem, and they need to regenerate the ecosystem in order to revive their spring. So this is another very good example. There is a very interesting YouTube video. I don't think I'll have time to play this video, but I strongly encourage you to go and look for this example of Dhara Vikas in Sikkim, from where I collect this example. And then I always like to end my slide with a thought as to what we think, how we think that we would participate or contribute to keeping the forest healthy. Not all the points mentioned here might be relevant to you, but this is just like a thought-provoking slide where you really feel to think as to how and why healthy forests are important. And it should just not be a narrative which is left over at a high level. We really need to think as to how each one of us as an individual can contribute towards survival of healthy forest. And I'm very glad that we have so many women in the room here, because I want to bring this to the attention that forests and women can make a difference to everything. So I leave this message here that let's feel and think how we can make our contribution towards the survival of healthy forest. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Yasmin, for not one, but two very interesting speeches. Now we get to move on to table topics. We have many guests, so this should be a lot of fun. If you are a guest and you don't want to participate, please communicate with our table topics master. Otherwise, she will be counting on you to respond. Miss Ayu, our former president, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. Hello, everyone. How are you today? Hi, Alicia. Oh my goodness, we have everyone. Well, let's just get started with table topic. I believe everybody knows that table topic is an impromptu speech session, which is we will talk or speak unprepared. Our time is 1 to 2 minutes. So I want to make sure, Excel, can you raise your Zoom hand? Can you raise your Zoom hand? So you will be always at the top right corner. Raise your Zoom hand. Yes, and stay like that, please. Thank you. So, okay, and then the next one is Roseburg speaker and storytellers. Means, wait. The theme is numbers. So tell us a story about your favorite numbers. I will put it also in the chat, and this question will be for everyone. Tell us a story about your favorite number. Then, for example, why is it yours? Why is it important for you? Or why do you like it? Who wants to be the first one? Linda. Okay, let's go on. Linda, tell us a story about your favorite number. Linda.
My favorite number is 6. And in China, we use this gesture as 6. Why? Yeah, you're right. Yes, because this number is my lucky number. My car plate, yeah, the last 3 digits of my car plate is 816. 816. Both 8 and 6 are lucky numbers, but 6 is a special lucky number for me. 3 years ago, my son was taking national exam. That's the most important exam in China. Basically, it depends the future of a young man. So after he finished his national exam, we were waiting for the scores to come out anxiously. It was supposed to, the score was supposed to release at 10 o'clock on that day. But at 8 o'clock, we were so anxious. 3 of us, my son, me, and my husband, we were so anxious. We were not able to do anything. So we just surfed the internet in our own rooms, in separate rooms, 3 people in 3 separate rooms. And then I heard my husband screaming in his study. He shouted 616, and that's the number, that's the score of my son. You know what? When I was anticipating the score to come out, I prayed and prayed. Please give my son 618. Then the score come out. It's 616. But the good thing is that he was able to go to his dream university, to go to his dreams major. So 616, that's good enough. It's even better than 618 because he didn't waste any score. He didn't waste anything. That's exactly the number we needed. 6, my lucky number. Thank you.
Yay! It is a story and an inspiring story. So thank you for sharing with that, Linda, and being our first table topic speaker. Talking about 6, I believe 168 also good. Is that correct?
Yes, 816. That's my plate number, car plate number.
Yeah. Thank you, Linda.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Anyone would like to try? Deja, Alicia. Okay, we go with Deja first.
Oh, no new topic?
Oh, the same topic. So tell me a story about your favorite number, Deja.
Okay, a story about my favorite number. My favorite number is, well, I have a few. I'd say my main favorite number is 2, but I also like the number 8 and the number 28. The reason for that is because when I was in 4th grade, I had a great teacher, and she said that her favorite number was 53 because her favorite baseball player's number was 53. So I decided to take 5 minus 3 to get 2 and 5 plus 3 to get 8. So I decided 2 and 8 were my favorite numbers. I also liked them because they were even numbers. And I liked perfection and being able to divide them in half and have equal parts, and it just seemed like it was a good round number. I also have synesthesia. If anyone has ever heard of that, it's when the wires cross in your brain. And for me, it's manifested with when I see numbers, I see colors. So 2 was blue and 8 is green. So it was just a very pleasant kind of visual for me. I have a lot of gratitude to have that kind of brain chemistry because it does make things really interesting. So my favorite number, 2, 28, 8, it's all good. Thank you, Ayu.
Wow, how can you do that, Deja? 2 blue and 8 green. How you know that? Or is this in your imagination?
Pretty much.
Good imagination over there. So,
some people see colors when they listen to music.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So thank you, Deja, for sharing that. 2 probably red for anyone else, but 2 is blue for Deja. Thank you. Aisha, I will pick on guest first, but I will give you a slot for table topic. Just a moment. I want to, someone not here in RSS for a long time is Alicia and Sammy. So Sammy, would you take this challenge?
Hello, Ayu. Thanks for picking me.
From that one, please remember everyone the word of the day, gratitude. Sunny Chairani.
What is my favorite number? I have a favorite number, and it is 5. Honestly, I still cannot find any particular reason why I love the number, why I like the number 5. It's just when I was in high school, there's a subject mathematics, and everything just calculate and numbers. I hate numbers actually. I hate calculations. But when I see from numbers from 1 to 12, especially when I look at the clocks right now, I don't know why. Maybe from the artistic of the 5 number, maybe from the artistic that I like this number, and I think it's magical that a founder from a history can create these numbers, things called numbers. From billion years ago, human being live in this earth, and finally I am here. I'm born in this era where I can know numbers and calculation, and I think it's just magic, and I cannot think why humans are created so smart. And I'm really grateful that because of the numbers, now we can count the time, we can count the dates, we can count our own age. And it's just a wonderful history that modern human ever created. That's all. Thank you. Back to you, Ayu.
Thank you, Sunny. 5. 5 is actually freedom. That's according to the numerology or choices. Will you get some idea on that? That's probably you like those freedoms.
Yeah. Well, actually, I never tried to find out what's the meaning of the
5.
particular number. But when you say freedom, yeah, that's how I feel right now. Freedom.
Good.
Thanks to you,
So,
Ayu.
thank you, Sunny. We have 2 persons. Yalan. I choose Yalan first because you have your raised hand. Yalan, tell us a story about your favorite number. Yalan.
Okay, thank you very much. This is Yalan. I am a visiting guest from Dongguan English Toastmasters Club. When I heard the topic, my favorite number, I actually don't have one. I'm sorry. But I can tell you that there are a few numbers that are, stuck in my head for a very long time. There are 4 and 13. So in Chinese culture, 4 is a taboo number, which is the same reason for in other cultures that 13 is also a taboo number. So when I was little, going to school, when people say, "Oh, 4 is not good. We don't do 4 here. Nothing is good in 4." So I was very rebellious. So I did everything in 4s. So I took, yes, I would take 4 pencils to school every day. I would only buy 4 pair of socks. So like I did all the things that my mother told me not to do. And she got really mad, by the way. But then when I got to the US, I went there as an exchange student for a year. And then they told me that they don't want 13. They don't, especially not 13s on Fridays. And I have no idea until I watched the movie. And I think it was something called Friday the 13th. And I was terrified of the number 13. But then nothing happened to me with 4 and 13. So I guess these are some stories that I can tell that are related to numbers, but I personally don't have one. But I think I'm just sharing the stories that I have with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yalan. You know what? Everything in the world has positive and negative, right? So 4, probably not really good in the Chinese character, but it's actually also a very stable. My grandma said to me, look for a partner, life partner, or a husband, they call it, right? With 4 years different, or multiplied with 4. I believe you know about this because it's like the leg of the table, 4, and it's very stable. So the positive and the negative depend on our view. So thank you, Yalan. Thank you so much. Okay, this is the thing. I will give after Stephen, I will go to Alicia, and I will go to Mary. So 3 more. Go, go, go.
So next one is me, right?
Yes, Stephen first, and then Alicia, and then last is Mary. Stephen, tell us a story about your favorite number.
Okay, my favorite number is 2. Why? Because I think everybody deserves a second chance. So maybe the first time you didn't pass or didn't complete something like in success, maybe you deserve a second chance. I used to have like 2 bosses. They are both from Shanghai. They are Shanghainese. So two bosses. And the first boss is very, very harsh. She was not very nice, and I don't think she's not a very good boss. She's not like helping you or supporting you when she was my manager. So, and then I had a very bad impression about, maybe it's my stereotype. I think maybe Shanghai people maybe like are not very nice. And then like luckily I met my second boss, who is also from Shanghai. And on the contrary, he's completely different person. Like I always had the gratitude, like I'm so lucky to have a boss who is so supportive and like give you mentoring all the time. Whenever even you make mistakes, maybe he's supporting you instead of like judging you, like, or call you stupid, you know, always there for you whenever you have an issue, you have problem at your work. Also, when you are sick, when you are sick, he even like call you and like tell you, like, stay at home, come on, like it's okay, just take good care of yourself, come back to work like next week, just stay at home. So it's a totally different boss. So yeah, I mean, this is the thing why it makes me like number 2. Yeah, this is my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Fun fact for all of us, 2 is actually partnership. And that's just amazing that your story fit this kind of description, that the 2 persons supporting each other. So thank you, Stephen, for your story. Next, Alicia, come on up.
Thank you, IU. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sick of hearing about number 1, number 2, number 7, number 5. Number 3 is the most important number, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because you can have 3 pictures of the hottest man on the planet on the back of my virtual background. That was Peter, who went from Tonga to the Olympic Games. Now, 3 o'clock is also a very important time, 3 a.m. in the morning. I can have 3 versions of Peter, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can go to McDonald's through the drive-through when I've had a lovely night out and had a really massive night out. Can you imagine at 3 o'clock in the morning, you hear the sound, you hear bing, bing, and all that lovely sound. You can smell the raft of the oil. You can smell it, can't you? You can taste the dripping oil as it's splattering on the ground. And you can feel it, and you can hear it, and you can see it. The Big Mac, the fries, and the Coke. That is what you can get at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you can get it at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and all the other things around the 24-hour thing. But 3 o'clock in the morning, there is nothing better than a large fries, a Big Mac, and a large Coke. Yes, it is a cure for the hangover. But 10 minutes later, you're feeling really sick and stupid and ridiculous because you had thought at 3 o'clock, that wonderful number of three, let me point it out, 3, that you would have Maccas, as us Australians call it, Maccas. Yes, it's a great time to be alive. Forget the other numbers, number 1, number 2, number 7, number 8, and all the other numbers on the planet up to infinity and beyond. Number 3 is the most important number because at 3 o'clock, you can go to Macca's, you can get your large fries, your large Coke, and your Big Mac, and you can have a great time. But 10 minutes later, you're going to be having a really hell of a time. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
I cannot stop. Look at people who claps. So thank you, Alicia, for the story. 3. Mary, I was looking for you. Hey, something is unexpected, but it's really something unexpected, but it's a good unexpected. Mary and Christina has the same color of shirt. Ah! Okay, Mary.
Okay, thank you. I apologize, fellow Toastmasters and guests, for my tardiness. I had to drive my aunt to the doctor's office, so I'm sitting in the parking lot, and I wanted to catch the end of the meeting, and it sounds like I've been asked what my favorite number is. And my favorite number is 33. Why you asked that number? It doesn't have any particular relevance, the number itself, except for when I started playing sports when I was 7 years old. I played basketball and softball and did cheerleading in the fall. So all year I was doing some sport. But the first jersey that I was issued when I was 7 years old was number 33. So that became my good luck number. So everyone that team I played on, the coaches with gratitude would hold the jersey number 33 for me because they knew I liked that number. So it didn't make me a better athlete. I wouldn't say it was necessarily lucky because I wasn't that great of a player, but people knew when they saw 33 that it was Mary at the time, Mary Walburn. That was my maiden name. They knew it was Mary in number 33. So unlike, I think it was Alicia with her wonderful number 3, I doubled that with 33 was my favorite number. So with gratitude to a wonderful group, thank you for allowing me to participate. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
I just want to say that. How come Alicia come up with 3 and you double it? I wish to have the same mind. Well, thank you, Mary, for you trying to come to the meeting. Mary is our club president, fellow Toastmaster, and thank you, Mary. I know I have a guest, Kathy. Kathy, I know that we don't have more time, but I know that you were listening to us, very, smiling and everything. Thank you for enjoying this meeting with us. Come again, please. And with that, I would like to say, everybody, thank you very much. The end of our table topic, and give back to Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, IU, for a rousing round of table topics and numbers. Kathy, real quick, what is your favorite number?
My favorite number is 7.
Yeah, right on. We want to hear about that next time. We want to hear all about that. 7's a great number. And Mary, I love 33 because 33 years ago, I was 33. Okay, everybody, do the math. Come on, there's a math question. How old am I, Cindy? This is a test. I know you hate numbers. Come on, how old am I? 33 years ago, I was 33.
6 plus.
plus. 66, yes, unbelievable. And 33 years ago, I didn't
I don't want
imagine
to
I'd ever make it.
mention. I don't want to mention 66. That's why I mentioned 6 plus.
That was very polite of you. I am expressing my gratitude for being nice. Let's move on to phase 3 of our meeting. This is the evaluation phase. I will turn the meeting over now to our general evaluator, Mr. Akib. He's no longer an alien. He is now a human. It's all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tiger. And we'll start the general evaluation session. Before I begin general evaluation, I would like to introduce evaluation in one or two lines. General evaluation means evaluating the meeting in a general way. How it started, how it went, and what are the areas that we can focus and improve ourselves. Our general evaluation session starts with evaluation of speeches and then with tag team speeches. And further, I'll be having my own report. So we'll start the session. Yeah, I can see a lot of messages for Tiger's age 6++. I would say Tiger is 33 years old with 33 years of experience. We'll start the session and I would request Christina to give the evaluation for speaker Toastmaster Jasmine. Christina, stage is yours.
Hello Toastmasters and welcome guests. It's my pleasure to evaluate Yasmin today. And she started off with an intriguing title, Forest and Women. I was so curious as to where this was going to lead. And I love the way that Yasmin has such a beautiful smile. She's confident. She just exudes that confidence before you even start, which is a great way to go. But she started off by saying that the topic was close to her heart. And the way in which she said that was just beautifully done. She was going to tell us about how forests and local communities go hand in hand. So my intrigue was widened even more. I learn something new every time that I come to RSS, and I really love some of the cultural references. And in this speech, it was beautifully delivered with really good visuals. Yasmin had her lighting set out really well. But I liked the narrative to the visuals because she was saying in India, they don't see forests in isolation from the community. And their festivities are integrated. I think this was a speech that probably was new to the vast majority of us here. And that sort of educational speech, but with a very powerful message, it's just fascinating. I loved it. So I loved the cultural ties. I loved some of the language. Yasmin mentioned that forests have resources. She talked about a cyclical and not a pyramidal system, and that the humans aren't at the apex of the pyramid. So that sounds like much more of a cultural reference to India that perhaps we wouldn't necessarily relate to in the West, but too damn right. Yeah, the animals and nature should be included, and we've got so much to learn from that. But I was really intrigued where there were areas where people have no water to drink, no water for their cattle, and yet somehow they managed to create a sustainable environment for the forest. I think we could all learn a lot more about how to do that because, yeah, clearly we need more forests. So I loved the message. There was a video which I'd like to look at some future time. In terms of what could Yasmin do better or do slightly differently, and I think for a 5 to 7 minutes speech, Yasmin did go quite substantially over time. So it's difficult when you're talking with passion about something to be as succinct as perhaps might be even more powerful. But that would be one message. The second recommendation that I have would be in terms of language. Now, Yasmin speaks beautiful English, and she's very skilled. There's one little thing. I think each nationality has different ideas or different challenges with the English language. And one of the things that I noticed a few times were about the use of singular and plural, because I think I would have the title as forests, plural, and women. And there were times when forests could be used in plural and trees could be used in plural. But, you know, that is such a minor issue. Overall, absolutely loved the speech. I loved how she said it was close to her heart, but it was all very congruent. We absolutely believed it, highly educational, and just done in a beautiful, charming way. Well done, Yasmin.
Thank you, Christina. Now we'll move ahead with our grammarian report. Alicia, stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Just bear with me for a moment. Okay. All right. So I am the queen of the grammar verse today, and I will be sharing exactly what we can improve on and what we did well. So I'll start with the gems. So these are the good parts. Rousing reception by Tiger, I like the use of that word. Diversity by Yasmin. Welcome to the RSS family by Yasmin. I really like that. Instead of saying welcome to the guests and to the visitors, I think that added a bit more of a wholesome approach by Yasmin. The world is not ending today, it's already tomorrow in Australia. I like the way that Tiger used that. So that was a bit of a juxtaposition there. Festivities by Yasmin. Cyclic integrated sister. I felt it was beautiful use of the English language by Yasmin. Dream University by Linda. And I have no idea how to say Synesthesia by Deja. No idea how to spell it, but that was my guesstimate. So the germs, the improvements. There were quite a few, as you can see. I would be observing of the filler words. I will be observing how the filler verbs were used, because we're talking about the past and the present. So we're talking about the tenses here, and Christina pulled it up in Yasmin's speech as well. I noticed that desert was pronounced dessert. So we have to say desert. So the S becomes a Z or a Z sounding. So that's how I would suggest that we pronounce it. I noticed a few of us were using the lexical and non-lexical fillers at the start of our sentence structure. And this was particularly around with the ESL speakers. So, and were the starter words that I noticed continuously used at the beginning. So remember, the lexical fillers are the adjunct to the sentence structure, meaning they connect the basic use of the English language. Table topic was introduced, should be introduced as table topics, plural and singular. Tell us a story about your favorite numbers. Numbers should be number. We're looking at the one that we're looking at, unless you wanted to talk about the multiple of numbers. So there. So remember, plural, more than one, singular, just the one. My son, me, and my husband. That needs to be put into context. It depends on how the sentence was said. Should be my son, my husband, and me, or I, depending on how you say it. I would buy 4 pair of socks. Now, this is where the English language is a little bit confusing. So you've got socks, you've got 2 is a pair of 1. So I would buy 4 pairs of socks, because that's where the plural is integrated into the language. Notice the word like was used consistently in the sentences. Now, as an Australian, we hate hearing the word like, because it's a valley girl talk for us here in Australia. So that's a common word that's used on the west coast of the USA. Notice the really and very rule. People using really and very. So really is used to describe the adjectives, verbs, or other adverbs. Very is used to describe the adjectives and the adverbs, but not the verbs. So that's another twist with the English language. The adding of the article a and an, I noticed that was consistent tonight. So always remember, the R sound goes in front of the consonants and not the vowels. For example, a horse versus an elephant. Think about how you put that in front of your sentence structure. Word of the day, the winners are Tiger and Mary. Deja used it once, Stephen used it once, and Mary and Tiger twice. Thank you, and I hand back over control or conduct of the meeting to our General Value, Akib.
Thank you, Alicia, for the detailed report. We'll move ahead with the next counter of today's meeting, Toastmaster Suvendu. Suvendu, stage is yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So I'll begin with Yasmin. Basically, my job is to see the overused and the filler words. My count says that there are 8 that Jasmine used, and one, which was, I would not say a lot considering the amount of time taken for the speech, but I would just point it out the areas that she has said, like in India, or sometimes that exist in the high level, high level. Going next to the next slide, is the bar visible in the forest? You might think forest, these are mango trees. There are mango trees. So so these are the areas where the are used, and considering the amount of time it takes for the speech, it's very less, but this is the count that we have for Yasmin, and it's used only once. So I would move on for, should I start with the other members right away? Yeah, so I would start with Steven. Steven said didn't complete multiple times, and the most used word by Steven is like. Like is massively overused. So that's one word that Steven might want to consider while speaking. Like is used more than 10 times here, and I can count like number 2, like stay at home, like I will call you. So this is the number of counts that like is used for Steven. So when I come to filler words, I will move on for Deja. It's only used used only once. When I see the number, when I see the numbers, I see colors. So that's very less. Only once. I'll move to Seni, which is what my favorite. Seni took a long silence before. What's my favorite number is? She took a silence. There was a long silence there. Then she said, when I was in high school, they said, so that was one sound that she made. Then otherwise, that's there. I would move on to Mary. Mary had this so with gratitude. So these are the numbers that have been used for Mary. Last one, I see that there, Yalan, for when I heard the topic. So when so there are 2-3 times that Yalan has used that number. Over to you.
Thank you, Suvendu. Moving ahead with our next report of timer, Toastmaster Ishal, the stage is yours. Ishal, you need to unmute yourself if you're speaking.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Well, well, first I want to say a little apologize for Jasmine when she say, I can see the screen, but I hope that helps the timer. And when she say that, oh, how can I do that? But now I know that I can speak while you are taking your to speech, so I can say the time in that moment. I can, and now I am allowed to speak. Okay, and well, and the time for Jasmine was for 14 minutes 7 seconds. At Linda 2 minutes 10 seconds, Deja 1 minute 42, Seni 2 minutes 2 minutes 11 seconds, Jala 1 minute 43, Steve 2 minutes, Alicia 1 minute 59, Mary 1 minute 25, Christina, that is the time of the evaluation, 3 minutes 51, Alicia 3 minutes 20 seconds in the time of the evaluation, and Suvendu sorry if I don't know if it's the correct pronunciation, stupendo. 2 minutes, 35 seconds, and for me, 1 minute, 56. That's my report, General Leitona Kim. Back to you.
Thank you, Ishel, for this beautiful report. Now we'll start the G report. Meeting started on time, and warm welcome to guests. Everyone was greeted, and that is one of the basic hygiene point of any Toastmaster meeting. Whenever any meeting starts on time, we normally don't talk much because it's already on time. So punctuality is something which is underrated in corporate life. If you are late, it will be pointed out, highlighted everywhere. But kudos to PP Education and the organizing team, which ensured that all the role players were on the time and meeting started. Coming to our Toastmaster of the day. Very nice idea to come up. I mean, just numbers, and initially I thought it's going to be my mathematics class. Slowly, I started getting some fun. And when he says 7, I was very happy. At least our favorite cricketer MSD also had 7 numbers. So it was a nice topic to come up with and connect the dots with all the people. So one recommendation is that we started meeting and we were talking about numbers little bit. If we can add 1 or 2 more slides, 1 or 2 more ideas based on numbers in between when you are transiting it between TTM to GE, or when you are taking from Table Topic Master to yourselves, little more content in Toastmaster of the Day session will reinforce the idea of theme. Then coming up with the Table Topic Master, very nice topic that everyone has to think about their best numbers and how it became his or her favorite and what is the logic behind that. So even when topic came to me, I was also thinking, I don't know whether Table Topic Master will call me, let us find out some numbers to tell. What happened in that process, that impromptuness of the topic was lost. Everyone knew what is the question coming up. So if you have a table topic session, proper table topic session of Toastmaster, it has to be impromptu. You'll have to change the questions. You can correlate it with numbers. Or if you want it just to be a fun part of your meeting, then it's okay. We can keep same questions to everyone. So that normally happens in Toastmaster of the Day session, wherein Tiger could have asked same questions to 10-15 guys. And one more addition to Table Topic Master would be to talk little more about table topics, how to attempt for the guest. Guest might not be able to attempt it. They might not be able to come up with favorite immediately. I was not coming up with one favorite number. So giving them little cheat codes that how to tackle a table topic would be great. Then Wordmaster Grammarian, kudos to you for your detailed report. I really loved your presentations, especially when your presentation is there and you are on top of it. Taking down all the grammatical points and describing each and every one was a good job done. You have added a value to your role. Our counter report can be little crisp. I mean, rather than telling each and every point to each and every speaker, we can come up with 2 or 3 words. We can tell that these are the areas where you have to work upon and how to resolve those issues. Then timer report was also nice. Ishel did shows her time whenever she was, she still raised her hand. So good job done by Ishel. I don't have any recommendation for Ishel, but one recommendation for overall meeting was on our counter role. So what normally happens is that whenever any thought comes, we try to think in our native language and then we try to convert it into English. in that process, we keep on telling are all this stuff. So a better idea would be to take a pause and then speak. You will add your pause, but slowly those pauses will decrease once you try to master it. Second one would be to slow down. There is no need to speak too fast. I've seen people who are good speakers, they speak very slow so that it is absorbed properly by the speakers as well. And third is again building pause in your speeches deliberately so that it is taken by others, and at the same time you have a time to breathe, you have a time to think. So this is one thing which all of us can utilize from today's meeting, because I saw a lot of ums going here and there. And that concludes my general evaluation report. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Tiger.
Excellent meeting. Excellent meeting, everybody. We are out of time. And speaking of numbers, we are out of time. I'm going to turn this over to our president to close this up.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. I would like to officially adjourn the meeting.